It was time to take off the old jack and install a new one. But this little box presented a major problem. Even with the good tools, it was still hard to get in there to get that bolt off, plus all the bolts were seized. Everything was rusty, so I just sawed the whole thing off. The problem was, I also sawed off the heads to these bolts, which was not a good idea.
All right, so here's what happened. I called my dad to tell him I was having a hard time getting it out because the nuts and the bolts were all seized from being so rusted. And before I could get out here and video it, he was already out here, loosened all of it up, got it all undone. I mean, in seconds. So, you know, obviously that I'm not as good at that. But he did not wait for me to film it. So that part of the video is missing.
I got a propane torch. I was gonna apply heat to it, smack it with my trusty hammer. A hacksaw, cut a slot in it like a screwdriver, and I got this hand impact with a screwdriver blade on it. You'd put it in the slot, then you turn it as hard as you can, and you whack it with the hammer, and when it drives down and hits, it also quickly does a jerk.
Oh,
turn.
okay. So how are we gonna get these puppies, these seized? Are these bolts?
Yeah, they're bolts. They used to be bolts until somebody cut the heads off.
So how are we gonna
This
get
is
these?
probably not going to do any good, but just for giggles. Oh, there we go.
Oh my gosh. And now it's time to put the new jack on. So let's do this. This is the new jack. It's made by Quick Products and it had a lot of good reviews. So hopefully it's gonna work pretty well. Now that I've got it in, I wanna take off this top so that I can crank it down so that I can put the bottom piece on, the foot. So now that I have the jack bolted down, I need to hook up the electrical and make sure it's operating properly. There's too much. I don't need all this. Trauma shears for everything. Okay, it's not pretty. I'm not gonna lie, it's not real pretty, but it works. So now that we have it to the right length, I'm gonna strip it. I'm going to cut this old breaker off. So I'm just going to take these wire cutters and boom, cut that old breaker off to expose a little bit of their wire. Then I have the new breaker. Lord, don't let me mess this up because I only have a few connectors. I'm going to go ahead and put on these connectors and crimp them into place. So now that I have the line side crimped, I'm going to heat shrink it.
my friend. Thank you.
cat running through. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit nervous. If I did this wrong, it's not gonna work. I hooked up an electric jack myself. I did it myself.